Today, we're going to be taking a look at the best green loadout that you guys can pick up in CS2. I'll be showing both budget and expensive options. However, if you go with all the basic budget options, it'll come in at $28.77, not including the gloves or the knife. As I do in all my videos, I will be giving away a skin in this video. All you need to do, stick around, watch the entire video to find out how to enter. Starting off with the Glock 18, the budget option we have here is the Nuclear Garden in field tested condition. This comes in at $1.42, and you can't go wrong with this. It's super shiny in CS2, and it's pretty much all green on the slider. The expensive option we have for the Glock 18 is the Gamma Doppler Emerald in factory new condition. This comes in at $586.20. However, if you do have the budget, I would definitely recommend picking this one up. Moving over to the USPS, the budget option we have here is the Forest Leaves in field tested condition. This comes in at only 7 cents. However, it's not super shiny in CS2, so keep that in mind if you do pick this one up. The expensive option we have for the USPS is the Monster Mashup in factory new condition. This comes in at $49.82. There's a lot going on throughout the skin. It's also very blue, so keep that in mind if you do pick this one up. If you use the P2000 instead of the USPS, I would recommend picking up the Turf in field tested condition. This comes in at only 15 cents, and I personally think it's a lot better than the USPS skins. Moving over to the P250, the budget option we have is the Boreal Forest in field tested condition. This comes in at only 3 cents, however there's a lot of brown throughout the skin. It's also very scratched up in field tested condition. Maybe upgrade it to minimal wear if you do have the budget. The expensive option we have for the P250 is the Nuclear Threat in minimal wear condition. This comes in at $99.15. Super shiny in CS2, and this is definitely the best option if you have the budget. Taking a look at the Tech 9, the budget option we have here is the Groundwater in field tested condition. This comes in at only 3 cents. It's not super shiny in CS2, however it's pretty much all green and definitely fits a nice green loadout. Once again, your expensive option here is the Nuclear Threat in minimal wear condition. This comes in at $128.36. However, even in minimal wear condition, you can see there's a ton of scratches throughout the weapon. I personally would not be picking this one up. Jumping over to the dual Berettas, the budget option we have here is the Briar. These are the souvenir version in field tested condition. You're going to want to scratch off any of the stickers if they do have any on it. This comes in at $1.28. Tons of green throughout the weapon with a tiny bit of red and blue. Definitely a great pickup. The expensive option we have for the dualies is the Emerald in minimal wear condition. These come in at $52.72. However, they're super clean in CS2. Definitely an insane pickup if you do have the budget. For the CZ75, we're going to be picking up the Eco in field tested condition. This comes in at only 76 cents, and even in field tested condition, there's not a lot of wear shown throughout this weapon. This is definitely the pickup for the CZ75. Once again, the expensive option for the CZ75 is the Emerald in minimal wear condition. This comes in at $35.72. It's personally not super expensive, however, I think the Eco is still a better option. Your budget option for the 5.7 is the Jungle in field tested condition. However, it comes in at $3.63. If you don't use the 5.7 a lot in CS2, I personally would not be picking this up. However, it is the only option. For the Desert Eagle, you don't really have any options. Your budget option you have is the Meteorite and throw 5 stickers on it. This in field tested condition comes in at only 82 cents. However, it's really your only budget option for the Desert Eagle. Your only other option for the Desert Eagle is the Emerald Jormungandr in factory new condition. This comes in at $309.48. It's definitely out of the budget for most people playing CS2. That's why we showed the Meteorite as the budget option. Jumping over to the submachine guns, starting it off with the MP9, we have the Deadly Poison in field tested condition. This comes in at only 41 cents. The expensive option you have for the MP9 is the Hydra in minimal wear condition. This comes in at $9.50. I personally think this is still a budget friendly option if you do have the budget for it. Definitely pick this one up over the other one that we just showed. Moving over to the Mac 10, we only have one option here, and it's the Nuclear Garden in field tested condition. This comes in at $7.04. It pairs very nicely with the Glock 18 that we did pick up earlier in the video. However, if you don't use this weapon, you can save $7 by not picking this one up. Moving over to the UMP-45, we're going to be picking up the Riot in field tested condition. This comes in at only 27 cents. It's all camo on the very top of the weapon, with the rest of the weapon being all black. For the PP Bison, the budget option you have here is the Jungle Slipstream in field tested condition. This comes in at only 23 cents. You can see it's super scratched up still in field tested condition. Keep that in mind if you do pick this one up. The expensive option you have for the PP Bison is the Chemical Green in factory new condition. This comes in at $5.92. It kind of looks very yellow on the bottom of the weapon. However, let me know in the comments if you think that is green or if it is yellow. For the MP7, the budget option we have here is the Motherboard in field tested condition. This comes in at only 5 cents, and you can't go wrong picking this one up for a green loadout. Another great option for the MP7 is the Empire in factory new condition. This comes in at $4.03, so it's definitely still in the budget if you are looking for a lower tier price. However, looks super clean, definitely another great pickup for the MP7. Finishing off the submachine guns, we're going to be picking up the P90 Grim in field tested condition. This comes in at only 11 cents, and you can't go wrong with picking this skin. Starting off the main primary weapons, we're going to be picking up the FAMAS Meow 36 in field tested condition. This comes in at only 7 cents, super clean skin with a ton of green throughout the weapon. For the SG553, we're going to be picking up the Army Sheen in minimal wear condition. This comes in at only 3 cents, however the green is very dull in CS2. Keep that in mind if you do want to pick this one up. The budget option you have for the Galil is the Vandal in field tested condition. This comes in at 80 cents, however there's a ton of stuff going on throughout the weapon with a ton of green throughout the entire weapon other than the magazine. I personally think this is a great pickup. The expensive option you have for the Galil AR is the Eco in minimal wear condition. This comes in at $40.65. Super clean skin. If you do pick it up in field tested condition, you will be able to save a lot of money. However, for the expensive option, minimal wear, $40.65. Moving over to the AK-47, the budget option you have here is the Ice Cold in field tested condition. This comes in at $6.14. It's very blue throughout the weapon, however there is a lot of green at the very front. I still think this would fit in a green themed loadout. I will also be giving away this AK-47 Ice Cold in field tested condition. All you need to do to enter is like this video and comment down below your favorite green weapon from this loadout. The expensive option we have for the AK-47, I had to show it. It's my favorite weapon in CS2. We have the Wild Lotus in minimal wear condition. However, it comes in at over $10,000, so if you have that budget, definitely pick this one up. Taking a look at the M4A1S, the budget option we have here is the Boreal Forest in field tested condition. This comes in at only 6 cents. Once again, there's a ton of scratches throughout the weapon. However, for the price, it's definitely the best option. If you do have a tiny bit more in your budget, I would definitely recommend picking up the M4A1S M4SRS in field tested condition. It comes in at only 47 cents. Definitely for the price increase, this looks a lot better. Moving over to the M4A4, we only have one option here, and it's the Jungle Tiger in field tested condition. This comes in at $5.13. It's super scratched up, however it is our only option. The budget option we have for the AWP is the Pit Viper in field tested condition. This comes in at only 21 cents. Ton of green throughout the weapon, and you can't go wrong with this in a green themed loadout. The expensive option you have for the AWP is the Containment Breach in minimal wear condition. This comes in at $165.26. However, super clean skin, even a ton of green throughout the scope on the weapon. Definitely an insane pickup. Finishing off the weapons before we move into some gloves and knives, we're going to be picking up the Scout Jungle Dash. This is the souvenir version in field tested condition. This comes in at only 3 cents, and it's a great way to finish off this loadout. For some gloves and knives in CS2 that match a green theme loadout, for the gloves we have the Turtle Gloves in minimal wear condition at $259.41. One of the options we have for the knives is the Boreal Forest Flip Knife, field tested condition, $118.59. However, with the knife, there's still a ton of brown and other colors throughout the weapon. I personally would not pick this up unless your budget for a knife is a bit lower. Another option you have for the gloves and knives, for the gloves we have the Jades in minimal wear condition, $219.23. We have it paired with the Gut Knife Gamma Doppler, factory new condition, Phase 2 finish for $333.96. I personally think this looks a lot better than the Boreal Forest if you do have the budget. Taking a look at the final gloves and knives, we have the Emerald Web gloves in minimal wear condition. These come in at over $2,200. We have it paired with a Gut Knife Gamma Doppler Emerald, factory new condition. This comes in at over $800. However, with any of the knives, you can swap them out for any other knife that you do like in CS2. Just make sure to pick up the same finishes that we did mention. Some other gloves that you can pick up are the Hedge Maze and the Spearmint. However, I didn't show them in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching another color themed loadout in CS2. If you missed any of my past inventories that we did show on this channel, I will link them in the description so you can check them out. If you enjoyed, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.